Honorable Men Discord. Actor Anthony Mackie says success is given, it's not earned. Let's talk about it. All right, so let's talk about it. Actor Anthony Mackie made his film debut in 2002 for the 8 Mile movie um, with Eminem's life story. And since then, as of 2025, he's starting in the new Captain America film. And he's the lead, I believe, in that movie. Well, yes, he's the lead. Captain America, he's playing Captain America now, so he's the lead. But recently, he was on the Pivot podcast, and he made the following statement that I just mentioned in the trailer. And as you can see in the thumbnail, he says success is given, it's not earned. Now, first and foremost, when you hear that coming from Anthony Mackie, do you think it comes from a place of jealousy, or do you think he honestly believes that? Because when I heard him say that, I personally question whether or not he would have said that had he had a different type of career. Now, the reason why I say that is if Anthony Mackie had a career like, let me think of an actor. Yeah, I know it's not fair to compare him to Denzel, but let's just say he had a career like Denzel Washington, where he had many films as the lead. Would he have said that? Or was he motivated to say that because there's some type of bitter feeling towards the film industry because he probably watched other people he felt he was better than advance further than he did? But it's the timing is strange because, again, it's 2025 and he's starring in the Captain America film and he's the lead. And had he not been the lead in Captain America, I could understand him saying that. But it seems as though with him getting the lead in Captain America, he would be grateful. But I want to say a few months ago, he was recorded saying something about Captain America, like it's not, something along the lines, I'm paraphrasing, that Captain America shouldn't be called Captain America because he's not a good representation of America. Something along those lines, which it almost felt as though he was trying to sabotage the film for whatever reason. Why he made that statement, I don't know. But again, for him to say this on the Pivot, I was a little bit curious as to why he said it. But before we get into that, let's take a look at some of the films that he's done aside from the 8 Mile. You can see to the side of me, these are some of the films that he's done. And Point Blank, I want to say he co-starred with that. I don't know if that's a movie that he led, but it's some I want to say some modest titles. He was in a movie with Forrest Whitaker, Repentance. He was in Notorious, the film about Biggie Smalls. He was in The Manchurian Candidate with Denzel Washington in 2004. $1 Million Baby, that was a movie that won a lot of awards by Clint Eastwood. He was in that movie. Let's see. She Hate Me. It looks like he's on the cover of the movie. That was a Spike Lee film back in 2004. But he had, based on the titles, a lot of these films, he was not the lead. And if he was, I don't think they were mega hits in regard to the film industry. But that doesn't mean he's not a good actor. But it seems as though when he made this statement, I'll be honest with you, it seems as though he's a little bitter and he's not happy with the industry. But without further ado, let's just go into this clip from the Pivot podcast and what Anthony Mackie had to say in his own words. Let's take a listen.
I've been in the business 24 years, right? And I've seen people go from nothing to the biggest stars in the world. I've seen people go from one role to winning Academy Awards and doing all this shit. And what I realized yesterday thinking about it, we're lying to our kids, dog. And I think that's a big problem in our community. We tell our kids that and this is fresh on my heart. Like, I literally just came to this conclusion last night. We tell our kids if they do right and they make the good grades and they go to the programs and they will become successful. If you work hard enough, your work will be paid off. And that's not true. Success is given. It's not earned.
Now, I had to pause it there. About it not being true, here's the thing. It depends on what you're talking about. Now, in terms of the industry, if we're talking film, if we're talking music, I could somewhat agree, if not mostly agree with Anthony Mackie. Because in the entertainment industry, it's about who you know. It's about the connections. And to be honest with you, it's about the financial backing behind your project, whether it's film, whether it's music. If you're in a position with someone who has connections and they have the money, they can launch your career. You could be a local star, and in the blink of an eye, you could be a national, if not international star, based on the person you align yourself with. So I agree with that as far as entertainment. Now, the part where he's saying we're lying to the kids, I can't agree with that because that format does not work outside of entertainment. So if you want to be a doctor, that can't be given to somebody. You have to absolutely earn that. Right? Now, by all means, if anyone disagrees with me, I'll see you in the comments. But if you want to be a judge, if you want to be an architect, and so on and so forth, real technical crafts or skill sets, you have to earn it. You have to know what you're doing. You can't just be given that. No one could. It wouldn't even matter if, for example, let's just say the person who's running a hospital. He or she is running a hospital. If they have a niece or nephew that wants to be a doctor, that person who's running the hospital can't just say, all right, I'll make you a doctor and I'll give you the position as an open slot. Doesn't work like that. That's not a position that can be given. You understand? So when Anthony Mackie says that, he's saying it obviously from a place of an entertainer. He's an actor. So, but he's generalizing his statement as though when we tell children to work their hardest, that's not a truth. I think what needs to be said to young adults and children is that the world owes you nothing. That's a true statement, right? You have to go out there and get it. That's a true statement. Another true statement is that it's not going to always go your way. Even when you work hard, sometimes it's not going to go your way. That is a true statement. All right. And it depends on the line of work that the person eventually tries to do. That blanket statement about success is given, it's not earned. It's not always true. I understand his frustration because he's clearly frustrated. You see the sweat trickling down his forehead in this clip where I paused it. You know, he's sweating, he's emotional. It's not always true. I disagree, but let's continue.
Because you can be the most brilliant. If one person don't tap you, each one of y'all. There were people who could hit harder, who could catch better, who could run faster, but somebody said, you're the one. And the other 50 behind you fell off. You know what I mean? And
Okay, now with sports, sports is similar to sports. You could consider sports entertainment. It is entertainment. So just like Anthony Mackie's profession, which is film, sports, music, that what he just said, I can say applies. All right. Although there's standards, someone could want to give you the opportunity. Perfect example. It's given, we can say LeBron's son. And I don't want to attack him because Stephen A. Smith already did that, to a degree. But we can say for LeBron's son, it was given. He worked for it. He went to college for that one semester, that 1 year or so. But he put in the work. He's putting in the work now in the G League. But his opportunity was definitely given. We can dispute it all we want. Maybe LeBron doesn't want to acknowledge it or he doesn't want to hear about it. But his opportunity absolutely was given to him to be on the Lakers because is his skills up to par with being on the Lakers? No. Not right at this time. Maybe further down the line it is, but his skill is not there yet. So with basketball and how he's referring to these former football players from the pivot, yes, to a degree. But even with the with sports, you have to make a certain mark, which is why for football, for the NFL, they have the combine, right? So there's certain things that the scouts or what have you, the teams want to see from out of a player. So you can give somebody an opportunity to go in the combine, doesn't mean they're gonna pass it. You can only give so much before skills and your knowledge of something carries you even further. So yes, you could, if somebody knows somebody, they could get an opportunity to go in the combine, but they could fail the combine miserably, and then they won't make it into the NFL. But what he's saying can happen and has happened, but then sometimes the people are given the opportunity and they're just so bad at what they do that they don't go further. So yes, people can be placed in positions that are not deserving of it, but can they maintain it? We've seen plenty of people be placed in positions that they don't deserve, but they can't maintain it because they were never qualified for it in the first place. But let's continue.
that I don't know what that emotion or that feeling is the scary thing. Because I went to all the programs. I've done Broadway. I've done off-Broadway. I've been in the business 24 years. I've been in 2 Academy Award films. I've done independent films. I've done major motion pictures. Now I'm Captain America. So now what?
Hold up.
All right. The way he ended that, now I'm Captain America, now what? It sounds like Anthony Mackie is looking to find himself in film or the entertainment, because that's a question only Anthony Mackie could answer. What was his objective when he became an actor? I don't know if it was a rhetorical question that he asked when he said that on the pivot, but only he could answer that. He chose to become an actor, right? He did all the films that I showed you. He did all these films. He was in these films, right? So now what is up to him? If he's unsatisfied with the film industry, he could, just like the podcast he's on, he could pivot and do something else, but that's up to him. But as far as his statement, success is given, it's not earned. I don't agree with it. I agree with it only in some cases, but not all cases. As I mentioned, you can't just be given a position of a doctor. You can't just be given a position as a lawyer. You're going to still have to know something. You have to pass the bar exam. You can't just skip over certain steps in credentials and certificates for certain career paths. So when we're talking music, again, film, sports, that can be the case. But outside of that, that statement doesn't apply. But we're not lying to the kids. We're just trying to motivate them, if anything. So I really don't agree with that statement either. We're not lying to the kids. We're trying to motivate them to see beyond what's in front of them, which I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Because what's the opposite of that? We're going to tell kids, oh, you're never going to get it. It's a waste of time. You know, most people, are we going to start giving them negative statistics on outcomes? Is that what we're going to start doing? I don't think we're going to be doing that. That's not going to get us anywhere. That's not going to get the children anywhere. So I don't see anything wrong with promoting high expectations, but whilst you do that, as I mentioned, also let them know there's no guarantee. Life is tough. Sometimes you work hard, you don't always get it. Sometimes you work, you want to be a professional player. Sometimes you give it your all, but your all is just not good enough. But at least you can walk away knowing you gave it your all. That's the way you have to relay the information. But it's not about lying to anyone. So I disagree with that. But I just thought it was an interesting subject matter. And by all means, if any of you agree with Anthony Mackie, I'll see you in the comments. But I disagree. I think he's making something that he's dealing with personally. He's trying to make it a public issue. It's not a public issue that success is given. All right. But that's my take on it. I don't really have anything else to say on this. But as always, I appreciate everyone for tuning in. Like, share, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next episode.